In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the 3 steps that you need to follow if you want to be able to make $30,000 to $50,000 or more per month in your coaching business heading into 2024. And more importantly, you want to be able to do it in the most simple way possible. You like the idea of being able to eliminate sales calls so that you've got cash flow, but you've also got a clear calendar to work with your clients, to be able to create content or, actually get out and enjoy life and enjoy your business and enjoy the freedom that should come from having a business like that. If all that sounds like you and you're looking for a new way and a better way and a different way to do things, then grab a cup of coffee, grab a glass of wine, a beer, whatever you're into. Sit back because I think you're going to get a lot out of this video. Okay, so with that all said, let's dive into this one right now. Okay, the very, very first step is we want to build your coaching business, your brand, your world, which is what I call it, your world. If you've got a personal brand, it's kind of your universe online. We want to build that all around one flagship, what I call cash cow offer. Okay, so this is something that we can build once and sell over and over and over again. And we can also keep iterating to improve it more and more and more and more, right? We can invest all of that energy into one single direction to keep improving it, right? If you haven't read the book Essentialism, I would recommend that you do. There's a great little graphic here where it says energy, right? And that's really all you've got. Right, time is a construct, energy is what you've got. And most people operating like this. Their energy is moving in a million different directions. But what we want to do by building your business and your ecosystem around one flagship offer, in my business, it's my inner circle, right? If you want the details about that, go watch the main video on my channel. It goes deeper into how I've sold $4 million plus of coaching online. It goes deeper into some of the concepts that we're going to cover today. It walks through the model that we help our clients deploy, and it also explains what my inner circle is all about. Full transparency, current program price is $9,600, pay in full, or $12K if you want to split it up. I believe in just putting the information out there, and then you can decide if it's something that you want to do or not, right? But this is what I do in my own business, right? I've got one core flagship offer that the entire ecosystem is built around, and I'm always trying to improve it, iterate it, make the training better, make the community better, make the guests that I bring in from my network better, make the experience better for people. And if I had 6 different offers that I'm trying to do that with, right, it's very, very hard to do. Okay, now there's a little caveat here. Like, I've sold different things along the way, but what you want to make sure is if you launch, say, a front end offer, you want to create it with the purpose of it ultimately fueling this one back end offer. We don't want tons of different offers that go in tons of different directions. It's okay to have I've got a $1,000 course out there that's called the Fast Cash Rolodex, which helps people to quickly bring in cash from their audience. But the whole purpose of that is so that people can go and make quick cash, right? $5, $10, $20, $50,000, and then ultimately they can end up in inner circle anyway. So it's congruent with the goal of getting people into this main offer. Okay. I think when I say this, some people think I'm saying you can only sell one thing ever, and that's not what I'm saying. But you want your whole world and ecosystem to point in one direction, and you can ultimately create this effect. We can sell it over and over again. We can keep improving it, right? What we also want to create in order to sell this is what I call an offer asset. Okay. And I mentioned off the top how we help our clients get off sales calls. The offer asset is what is key to doing that. And I'm going to pull up an example in a moment. So stick with me here, right? But essentially what this does is it takes the place of the strategy session of the sales call, and we pair it with our content ecosystem, be that on social media, be that on YouTube or a podcast or whatever. And that offer plus the content makes the sales process really simple. It's a couple of DMs back and forth. That could be inbound, it could be outbound. We find out if we can help, and we make the offer, and that's really it in a nutshell, right? And what this allows us to do is, now that we have a clear calendar, because we're not talking to every single person one by one, or we're not managing a big team of people to do it for us, it means we've got a ton of clear time in our calendar all of a sudden, right? And where I like to reinvest this, for me, the 2 biggest ROI and biggest points of leverage are 1, into content, and 2, into actually working with my clients. Because most people, once they start, especially once they're pushing up to that 50K plus per month mark, they're hiring 1, 2, potentially 3 or more coaches to work with their clients. And I really like to be able to work directly with my clients because 1, I enjoy doing it, so I got into this game. But 2, their results are going to be better because I've got the nuanced experience from doing this for a very long time, from my previous consulting background, from selling personally millions of dollars online. So naturally, their results are going to be better, right? And what that means is that when their results are better, that gives me better marketing collateral that I can feed back into the ecosystem. Okay. Now I'm not saying never go and hire coaches, but I'm saying the way that you sell can unlock a ton of time to actually allow you to work with your clients. And people think that there's like this, it's either you spend time delivering or you spend time marketing, right? When they're actually very clearly linked. If you spend time delivering and get people better results, your marketing will become simpler, easier, more effective, more efficient, right? So that's how I like to reinvest my time. And those are two very, very highly leveraged and high ROI activities. Okay. So we focus on this one flagship offer, and this really allows us to build up a lot of momentum because, like I said, all that energy is moving in one clear direction, right? It's literally like thinking about your business like a funnel. We create content, we generate traffic on places like Facebook and Instagram, and might go out and do a podcast and tap into other people's platforms, and all that energy and attention comes to us on social media or on YouTube, and then from there that leads to the DMs where we filter people out even more, and then ultimately it leads to that offer. So it's starting with a really, really wide frame, and it gets more and more and more narrow, exactly like a funnel, right? But all of that funneled energy is moving in one direction, right? And like I said here, client results will feed the ecosystem with marketing collateral. It's all moving in one direction. You keep improving your offer in the marketing. We build what I call marketing pressure, which is if you've got one main thing that you ultimately want people to move into every day, every week, every month, every quarter that you show up, your job is pretty simple. It's make a compelling fucking case, like seriously compelling case that they should work with you. And if you've got 5 different things that you're trying to sell them into, that's really hard to do. Or if every other week the offer changes, it's hard to build up that pressure, because especially when you're selling high ticket stuff, people aren't just going to jump in straight away. They need to watch, listen, read, whatever, your social media, your YouTube videos, all this kind of stuff until that moment happens and they wake up and they're like, all right, today's the day. But if that's changing every other week, it doesn't create time for that pressure to build, right? And it doesn't allow you the runway to make that compelling case, okay? You become known for this main program and whatever the core method is that you teach within it. Like the people in my audience know, main program's Inner Circle, main method is helping people grow their coaching business without sales calls. It's a model that I call lifestyle consulting. That's what it's all about. And we reiterate that and we share people joining and people getting results with that, and we reiterate it over and over and over and over again. And that's what builds up this pressure. All that energy is moving in one direction, right? We're feeding the results back into our marketing collateral. And then what it means is that there's a very, very clear next step for people to work with you. And so when they have that moment, it's not a matter of, I'd kind of like to work with Jacob, but I actually don't really know where to go from here. And then all of a sudden the moment's gone and, they're second guessing themselves and all this kind of stuff, right? But where it's very clear, they're like, Jacob, I'm ready to join the Inner Circle. Send me the details, right? Send me the link. That's how it works, right? And reality is I made $1 million with my first course/coaching offer. You only need one offer to make millions. I'm not saying don't eventually have multiples, but for the people that are, looking to hit this income range, one main offer that your whole ecosystem moves towards is the main thing. Okay. If you're sitting here going, okay, well, that sounds good, but what does that look like? I would recommend that it's somewhere between a 4 and 12 month experience. We've played around with a lot of durations. It really depends on the situation, okay? But somewhere between 4 and 12 months, some combination of group, one-to-one, both of them together, and a self-paced content element. There's a lot of hate these days about courses, but it's like, it kind of makes sense, right? It's like give people stuff to consume in their own time. Adds leverage for you, means that they can go and get shit done in their own time. So you want that aspect of it. So you got a community, some level of one-to-one. So for example, in Inner Circle, we do a one-to-one kickoff call. I do those at the moment with my clients. And then we've got a one-to-one chat where we can go back and forth and, figure anything out in real time. I'd recommend it between a 3 and 20K price point. Obviously the price point is going to be dictated based on the duration and based on the scope of the deliverables. So if you're doing one-to-one with every client and it's like 12 months, it's not going to be here, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, where if it's mostly self-paced and it's group and it's shorter, you can get away with a lower price tag. Whereas once you start adding one-to-one, things get longer, the price tag's going to blow out. That's how it kind of generally correlates. Not perfectly, but that gives you kind of a guide, right? And like I mentioned, my example in my own business is what I call my Inner Circle. You can go check out the main video on the channel. Current pricing, full transparency. It's currently 6 months, group, one-to-one chat, self-paced content. We do a weekly group call with all the other members as well, and we'll do a one-to-one kickoff call. And just to show you an example of an offer asset, right, I'm not going to show you everything in this one because you can reach out if you want to get all the details. But this is my invitation to join the Inner Circle. If you want to land coaching and consulting clients without having to pack out your calendar with free strategy sessions, I'm taking everything from all my experience, packaging it into one-to-ones, high touch, blah, 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 blah. So that's what an offer asset looks like. It's literally just a document that breaks down everything that you're going to work on together, all the stuff that you're going to do together, and then has all of the deliverables and the price, which for me, a lot of that stuff's out there anyway, because I'd rather just put it in my content. Call this concept. It's pretty simple, but it's funny how this isn't spoken about in the industry. I call this moving the information line. If you're familiar with how the kind of coaching space works, you'll know that most people hold back as much as they can about their program, and it works, but it means then that they're getting people on the phone who they then have to explain the details to over and over and over and over again, right? Whereas I prefer to move the information line, make it public, and then I say it once and hundreds, thousands of people get that information that they need. That's just a little side point, right? From there, we go into step 2, right? So we've got our offer. We've got that. That's what we're ultimately trying to move people to. Now we need to activate traffic systems, right? Now, depending on where you're at, you might have traffic already. You might have some kind of audience, which is great. It means you can tap into that pretty quickly, but you obviously want new attention and new traffic coming in every single day. And there's a couple of different types that we can do here. There's obviously organic. Once you've got the offer in place, that's where, things really start to kick into gear. And now we move into step 2, which is all about activating traffic systems. Okay. Now you may already have some kind of audience. You might already be generating traffic. The way that we do it is we leverage the social media piece to generate traffic both organically, and then we can run paid ads to boost the reach of that same content, right? In particular, I've got this concept called a social laundering funnel, right? Aside from being what I think is a pretty cool name, it's take a platform like Meta, right? Facebook and Instagram. So we can post on there. We can deploy SOPs. We can have people work for us and help us grow that actively. We can also pay to get the media on there in front of more people, right? And then that gets us new attention. What we do with that attention is we create content on those platforms natively, and that serves a purpose 100%. What we also do is we want to siphon it off, aka launder it via a long form platform, right? So I've written here short form / active plus long form equals money, right? Long form is either going to be YouTube or a podcast, right? Personally, I prefer YouTube, but you can definitely make it work with a podcast as well. And so we do our thing over on social media. We create our content, we run our ads, all that kind of stuff. But where the magic really comes into it, and you're going to make your selling a hell of a lot easier, is if you siphon that traffic off to a platform like YouTube, where you can literally spend hours and hours and hours and hours with people, one to many. Then they come back onto social media, right, to have a DM conversation with you, right? You're literally like washing the leads through YouTube. It's going to qualify people out. It's going to amplify the relationship with the right people, and then they come back into the DMs. And if you do this and you do this correctly, I can promise you this, it will be some of the easiest sales. Like, we literally close 10K deals like people would close $100 sales because of this process. So it's about getting the attention on social media, and we do nurturing on social media as well. Totally. It works hand in hand, but where possible, we want to move them off and get that consumption happening on a platform like YouTube, right? The other thing we can layer in from a traffic perspective is what I call OPP, or other people's platforms, right? So this is like being a guest on someone else's YouTube show or podcast or whatever. And we've got automated ways of doing that as well. SOPs, we can engage agencies to help us out here. The whole point about traffic systems is that really you want to be able to, as the name says, activate them and then not have to put too much time into them, right? So giving SOPs to somebody to implement for you, running ads that are pretty low maintenance. You add a new creative here or there, but it doesn't take you a ton of time every day, every week. And then getting in front of other people's audiences as well. That can be automated aside from the time that you need to actually show up and like do the interview. So like, for example, I have podcasts that just appear in my calendar because I've got somebody booking me on them for me. So it's fully outsourced. So we want to activate these traffic systems, and we want them to be as automated as possible, right? Because now we've got two big pieces in place. We've got automated traffic, so we've got new people finding us every day, and we've got that offer sitting there, right? So if you think about them as the two bookends, the traffic is the new people, the offer is where we ultimately want to get them to, right? Now step 3 is about nurturing, bridging, and compounding. All right. Sounds like a lot of things, but it's quite simple, right? So like I said, the long form content and real-time content on YouTube plus on the socials is what does the nurturing, right? An advanced strategy, we can get into like front-end paid offers, but I want to keep this simple for now. So we take that traffic, right? We nurture it through our social content, but we can also move it off the platform to get people to watch our long-form videos, right? We can repurpose our content so that we've got multiple touch points, which creates omnipresence. And the whole goal of doing all this is pre-selling, okay? It's pre-selling people on two main things: who you are and what you do, right? If people buy into that, if people buy into you as a leader, you as a brand, and they say, I want to work with that person, and at the same time they align with what you do and the way that you do things, right? Like we have an approach that I teach in the inner circle, main video on the channel, that's for some people, but it's definitely not going to be for other people. It's a certain way of doing things, and so I don't need everybody to like that. I just want the people that watch a video like that or watch my other content or consume my stuff on the socials and they go, I want to do things that way, and then more importantly they watch it and go, I want to do things that way and I want to learn from Jacob. If we tick those two boxes, the next natural thing is, okay, well, how do we do that? Insert the offer, right? So the goal is pre-selling, and it's pre-selling on those two main things. Then through our content, we make regular offers, CTAs, that generates us inbound leads. I literally just put up a post on social media this morning where I shared a result of a client who was making 3K a month. Now they're consistently knocking in 5 to 10K clients without sales calls. They just sold out their first event in Paris. They had a $20,000 day. We show these transformations. We make a call to action and say, look, I'm taking on 1, 2, whatever, more one-to-one clients this week, inner circle clients this week, and people reach out. We can also bridge to chat with outbound. We pay attention to who are the warmest leads in our audience, right? People that are engaging, people that are watching, people that are opening emails if you're doing that. Pay attention to what I call hotspots, where people are actually consuming your stuff and you can go to them and have a conversation. You got to understand, when you outbound somebody, you're going to them, right? So it's going to be more on their clock than on yours. Whereas if they come to you, the timing is naturally going to be more aligned. So if you're outbounding, you got to expect you're probably going to have to do a bit more follow-up. The timing may not be perfect, so they may not close immediately, right? But we nurture those relationships through our content, and we can also bridge them over through a one-to-one conversation as well. All of this feeds the DMs with warm leads, right? Ultimately leading to inbound and outbound conversations. So we build up that pipeline in the DMs, and then we close the deals with offer asset for this main offer that we were talking about up here. Okay. So that's kind of the game in a nutshell, right? Then one more thing that I want to touch on, and I mentioned this before, is compounding. So we close the deal, we get a client, and then like I was talking about just before with that client who just sold out their event in Paris, we get our clients great results, and then we feed that back into our marketing collateral. We can also amplify it with ads. We can talk about it on other people's platforms. I can go on a podcast and talk about a client result, right? And then this accelerates the growth and compounds the ecosystem. So what we do in terms of delivering our offer makes our marketing easier, and that's how the entire ecosystem compounds back on itself. So to bring this all together, it's about nailing that one offer. It's about building an asset that can sell it in the DM so that you clear up your calendar. Then we want to turn on these traffic systems, okay? Ideally on social media. We can then take that traffic off the platform, get that long form nurturing going on, and then we want to bridge people over to a conversation, be that inbound through a direct offer on your stories, on your profile, in a video that links back to your socials, or you can outbound people who are obviously paying attention. They raise their hand on a post. They watch all of your Facebook stories, your Instagram stories. They like every post that you put out. They follow you, right? You can outbound them and you can assist with the nurturing one-to-one. Right? But make sure you're leveraging assets, right? Make sure you're leveraging assets. What I'll do frequently is that main video on my channel, I'll send that to people in the DMs and I'll go, hey, like, go check this out if you want to know more about what we do. It does the work for me. Capture that energy, leverage it over and over and over and over and over again. Just like we were talking about here with this one offer that we sell over and over again. We want to build those assets that capture our energy. We close the deal, we get clients, we get results, and it feeds back and everything grows from there. Okay. So that's our model. That's our approach. And hopefully there was something of value. Hopefully there was a couple of light bulbs in there. I'm excited to see what you do with this. Go check out that main video if you want more information about how we work with our clients. And I'll talk to you on the next video. Cheers.